One of the core elements of understanding in chess is having a good grasp of all the classical matches that have been played in the past. It builds like a database which you can refer to in your understanding. One of the matches I've always wanted to really look at closely has been the Kasparov-Kramnik match, because I think that was one of the last major sort of old school fights that we had seen in a long time. And this is game number one, and it really changed how people kind of approached a certain opening, particularly the Berlin, this World Championship match. But it was also just unbelievable that Kasparov could lose. I remember at the time, I mean, he had been world champion, I think, for 15 years and was dominating. And Kramnik, one of his major solutions was after e4, this is in game one, he played e5. This was not unusual. He normally used to play the e5, but after knight f3, he used to play knight f6, which is the Petrov defense. But to everyone's surprise, he played knight c6. So this was a first surprise for Kasparov. Well, if you followed the Kasparov couple of matches, Bishop b5 was a staple in that series of World Championship matches. But also Kasparov was known to play d4 or the Italian, but Bishop b5 definitely was not a surprise. But this move, knight f6, was the beginning of a new chapter in chess, which Kramnik had just revived. Um, I don't think it was possible for Kasparov to know what to expect in terms of openings after knight c6. But Kasparov is not one to shy away from challenge. He goes for the main line with castles. Here, um, Kramnik takes on e4. This is the beginning of the Berlin. Now, there's two main ideas here. You can play rook e1 or you can play d4. D4 is the main line. Rook e1 is fairly flat. It's a very slow game, but not without venom. So d4, knight goes to d6, and here um, take on c6, d takes c6, and after pawn e5, we arrive at the position where most people kind of just didn't pay a lot of attention, because now you exchange queens, and it doesn't look like an ambitious way of trying to win a game. But I think because Kramnik had been a second of Kasparov in the 95 match, he had so much insight as to how Kasparov thought and what he liked and what he didn't like. So he had a bit more psychological understanding of Kasparov's approach to opening theory and to positions. And he knew that this was not going to be a pleasant opening for Kasparov. So he went for it. So after knight f5, he takes, queen takes d8, and after king takes d8, we've got the key position in which black has the bishop pair and white the superior pawn structure. You can see that his pawn structure is not damaged, and he's got a lead in development. So white's plan is to advance his mobile king side pawns. He's got a bit of a majority here, you can see, and you be. It's not easy to move these pawns. Um, he wants to maybe establish a combination of pawns on f5 and e5, so that he controls perhaps the square e6, and if possible, make a breakthrough there. Now, one of the main issues for black will be where to put his king. The choice is between keeping it in the center, so e8, or keeping it on the queen side safely. Uh, and Kramnik here chooses a move which I think is more like a psychological insight into Kasparov. A king's safety is much more of a priority when playing someone like him. So he goes for the queen side. This is where he wants to keep his queen. So here we've got the first part of the game, which is the opening complete, and we will get into the second part, which is the middle game.